Hello everyone, my name is Dennis with Sec or Dongy Security, whatever your heart desires, and in today's video we'll be going over the SOAR Security Orchestration Automated Response. Basically, this is what it is a SOAR, what I just said. Learn the concepts and methodology surrounding security orchestration, automation, and response. So yeah, before we start, click join room, and now we are in the room here with task 1, introduction, right? Security events becoming more complex, adversaries showing sophisticated capabilities and tools, raise challenges for security defense teams, and justifications for performing security differently. In this room, we should look at many ways organizing security defenses through a SOAR, which is commonly referred to as what this is right here, orchestration, automation, and response. Basically, what it is, it's a solution that helps organizations to streamline and automate their security operations, including incident management, threat intelligence, and vulnerability response. So here are the learning objectives right here, and then here are the learning prerequisites right here. Basically, we are going to learn today extend the user's knowledge of security options through orchestration, automation, and response. Familiarize yourself with common SOAR workflows. Assemble a malware investigation workflow. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah, so let's get started right here. And here we are with task 2. A lot of words to read, but no worries here. We are in the SOCs, the Evolution of Security Operations Centers, visualized as large action-packed room with threat alerts firing from numerous monitors, with analysts rushing about and trying to contain the threat. However, no two SOCs are the same and is set up differently, as the basic SOCs are meant to provide a location to centralize crisis communication for organizations and provide monitoring capabilities for physical, logical, and network security. All this is to protect assets. For a quick introduction to SOCs and their operations, check out Security Operations Room. SOCs have evolved over time, with every generation adding new technology. A quick rundown of the SOC generation is as follows. First generation, SOCs by IT operations team. Tasks were more blended. It includes device monitoring, managing antivirus security, log collection, which was limited and often referred to as event as an incident reported. So I guess this is just talking about how SOCs evolved over time from first generation to the fourth generation. And each new generation, they're integrating new tools, SIEM tools, and then more use of the SIEM tools, but by adding more features to that SIEM tool, such as vulnerability management and incident response capabilities. Then the last generation we have here, which is the fourth generation, talks about, we can analyze large amounts of data to uncover threats in real time. And an example of what that would be, threat intelligence feeds have become valuable to SOC teams, expanding the horizons of security investigations. All right, and then we can read more about SOC generations in this book right here. Then we have our SOC capabilities right here. Obviously, we should all know this by now. There's a ton of capabilities: monitoring and detection, focused on continuous scanning and flagging suspicious activities within a network environment, leads to awareness of emerging threats and how to prevent them in early stages. Incident response, SOC teams operate as first responders when cyber threats are identified. They perform operations such as isolating or shutting down infected endpoints, removing malware, and stopping malicious processes. Threat intelligence, monitoring environments continually requires a constant flow of intel. This ensures that the SOC teams are always updated on the latest developments and have the best available resources to address emerging threats. Log management, a SOC gathers, maintains, and reviews logs of all network connections and activities within an organization. Full this information, baselines for regular activities can be established and provide evidence for forensic investigations. Recovery and remediation, organizations rely on their SOC to provide a hub for recovery and remediation when incidents occur. Additionally, the SOC provides effective communication with affected parties to ensure that the incidents are addressed. Security process improvement, adversaries are continuously refining their tactics and tools. This means that the SOC team must always carry out improvements by performing post-mortem investigations and identifying areas to work on. Cool, yeah, and then obviously, we have the capabilities. Now we have the challenges right here, alert fatigue, basically, which means a bunch of alerts are triggered in the SOC, which means that there's so much false positives of those alerts that, the true positive one, the one alert that actually matters, the one that's actually impacting the business potentially, is the one that's being shadowed by all of these false positives. Then we have disparate tools. I don't know, I'm pretty sure I said that right. I think security tools are often deployed without integration within organization. Security teams are tasked with navigating through firewall logs and rules, which are handled independently from endpoint security logs. This also leads to an overload of tools. Manual processes. As a SOC, procedures are often not documented, especially the ones that deal with investigations, leading to a lack of efficient meaning of addressing threats. Most rely on established knowledge that was built by experienced analysts, and the processes are never documented. Talent shortage. SOC teams find recruiting, expanding the talent pool difficult to address the growing security landscape and sophisticated threats. Find this with the alert overload teams face. Security analysts become more overwhelmed with the number of responsibilities they have to undertake, resulting in less efficient work and extended incident response time that allow adversaries to rain havoc within an organization. Alright, just picking back up where I left off here. Under which SOC generation did SIEM tools emerge? So we go back right here, we see second generation SIEM tools emerged here. So we can just put second generation. Second, alright. How would you describe the experience of having an overload of security events being triggered within a SOC? I assume it's okay. Alert fatigue, nice. Incidents using human and machine power. SOARs operate using the following capabilities. Security organization. Just like organizing a musical orchestra, security organization is an act of connecting and integrating security tools and systems into seamless workflows. This develops streamlined processes and information flow, effectively helping organizations handle security events. Orchestration works in tandem with automation, which we shall define shortly. What is vital to remember is that organizations chain together individual security tools, tasks, and processes to work together towards the same tune. So yeah, this looks like a security orchestration right here. IAM, which is in other words, identity access management, intel feeds, endpoint detection, SIEM, SOC analyst, case management, all is just being orchestrated into the SOAR, which is called the security orchestration. And from there, basically is an act of connecting and integrating security tools and system into seamless workflows, right? Cool. So automation comes to play at a point repeatable patterns will emerge, and it's a must-have element for these automations as it deals with complex tools and information flows. Automation goes beyond just laying out the necessary action steps to handle a security event and offer preventive measures. It's meant to provide additional insights into threat response and allow security teams to adopt and customize the response workflows to reduce handling time. Security response. Once security incidents are detected and analyzed, a triage plan must be set in motion to avert damages from any adversary. This requires analysts to identify the appropriate steps to contain and remediate the threat. With the help of automation, incident response processes can be executed seamlessly. SOAR versus SIEM. So we have our, the SOAR key differences and our SIEM key differences. Let's go compare the two. So we have our SOAR right here, which fetches threat feeds from the SIEM, threat intelligence, and endpoint security, compared to the SIEM, where it's a log and event data that's centrally correlated, and that data is being taken from security, network, server, and application sources. SOAR right here collects security alerts and intel using a centralized platform. Our SIEM generates alerts to be assessed by analysts. SOAR again is an orchestration and automation, ensures less human intervention when addressing threats. Obviously, the SIEM has more human intervention, is required to manage rules, use cases, and alerts. And then SOAR employs workflows and playbooks to ensure end-to-end response automation. And then SIEM is a limited response workflows result in longer response time. So yeah, SOAR capabilities are run through playbooks. Security playbooks, a structured checklist of actions used to detect, respond, and handle threat incidents. Another common terminology for them is a standard operating procedure. Playbooks assist SOC teams in having an end-to-end process of handling routine incidents and establishing repeatability and metrics for the response. We shall look at some SOAR playbook uses in the next task. On the other hand, we have runbooks, which are predefined procedures to achieve a specific outcome and have a high degree of automation. Runbooks can include human decision elements depending on the level of automation applied. Workflow of a SOAR. Putting together the SOAR capabilities, a typical workflow would look as follows. We have detection right here. A security event may be triggered and detected by an integrated security system such as network intrusion detection or a SIEM. Enrichment threat intelligence will be gathered from feeds, reports, and other sources to provide additional context about the event, such as the tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs, that SOC analysts can use the orchestrated data to conduct deeper investigations. Triage, the SOAR would analyze the event, determining its severity and potential impact on an organization. This reduces the mean time to detect, mean time to respond to security incidents. Response here, automated actions are set in motion to contain the threat and migrate any potential damage. For example, implemented playbooks could trigger the isolation of compromised systems or block identified malicious IP addresses. New level of enhanced incident response. Remediation, right? Root cause analysis of this event is done through coordinating efforts of security analysts and incident responders. Additionally, patch management, operations, and vulnerability upgrades are automated efficiently. Reporting, communication reports about the incident and remediation are standardized to ensure reliable and repeatable flow of information involving both internal and external stakeholders. Actionable metrics may also be Extracted. SOAR tool factors. With the understanding of all the security incident that should be managed from a single platform, some notable factors to look out for when sourcing a SOAR solution include the following: open integration with existing security and IT tools out of the box. Future integration with newer custom technologies should also be considered. They provide a streamlined collaboration, smooth handoffs, and escalations to support day-to-day SOC operations. Operations dashboards that provide analysts with capabilities to build, customize, and test playbooks to improve the incident response processes. Role-based KPI, or in other words, key performance indicator dashboards and reporting libraries are available to support measuring and improving SOC performance. Automatically correlate and combine related alerts from multiple tools to minimize false positives and eliminate alert fatigue on analysts. And then we have our questions right here. The act of connecting and integrating security tools and systems into seamless workflows is known as security orchestration right here. What do we call a predefined list of actions to handle an incident? Security playbook is a structured checklist of actions used to detect, respond, and handle threat incidents. So the answer for this would be playbook. SOAR workflows. We have our phishing workflow now. So I guess we'll go into the scenario. No, it's scenarios, or the practicals at task 5. So yeah, it looks like we have a phishing scenario right here. Employees have recently received numerous suspicious emails and have reported them to the SOC team for an investigation. As lead analysts, you wish to develop an automated workflow to analyze email files and perform case management using various security tools. Okay, so how would this workflow look like? And it just talks about phishing, how they're most common used tag vector because it attacks on human social engineering. SOAR solutions can execute these attacks in the background while other risks, are ongoing. And then, so let's see, we have our workflow here. Suspect emails have been received and isolated in a sandbox environment prepared for such events. So this is one right here. Trigger number 2, use to execute, create a ticket. Okay, Hive, so better documentation. So creates a ticket. The Hive is like a ticketing tool, kind of like ServiceNow, makes a track of like ticket work and stuff like that. Parse the email for URL attachments and other possible IOCs. IOCs are indicators of compromises. So like an IOC would be a hash value or a IP address. And then obviously if they're present, they'll be extracted, right? Then a virus total triggers executed to analyze extracted URL and file hashes. Definitely something to keep note of is just because a virus total says that there's no malware or a reputation check doesn't mean it's confirmed. Definitely want to try other sources like Talos, Intelligence, and other resources. I can't name some on the top of my head right now, as of right now, but we're just doing a silly little workflow right here. And then in the event there is no results for virus total, email analysis has to be done to ensure whether it's malicious. Yeah, I'll obviously do email analysis because we don't know if it's confirmed by virus total, if it's malicious or not. Malicious outcomes from automated or manual analysts trigger deletion of malicious email and communication notification to the organization. The incident ticket is updated with IOC's results and reports generated in the workflow. So yeah, definitely in the future, I'll actually do a hands-on video of a manual email analysis using an app called AnyRun. That's definitely something in the future to look out for. Now we have our scenario 2, CVE patching, which is critical vulnerability exploit, common vulnerability, and exposure. Yeah, same thing. I just messed it up badly. This turns to given public disclosed vulnerability. Yeah, E report has been received. As a lead SOC analyst, you'll need to establish a workflow that will analyze CVE details, assess risk threshold, create a patching ticket, test a patch before being pushed into the production environment. Always important to create, well, not to create, just to test a patch before being pushed to the production environment, because what if that patch messes up the production environment, which is the actual business critical environment, and that will mean a big no for the business. So the common vulnerabilities and exposures, CVE, list of public disclosed vulnerabilities based on scoring systems that evaluates the threat of a level of the vulnerability. Yeah, there's a lot of CVEs out there for sure. I'm sure there's one that's been created today, if not 3 days ago or a week ago. As a security analyst, you'll always be on the lookout for publication on new CVEs. Yep, and remediation plans. This process can be overwhelming, resulting in mounting backlog and patches not being applied, leaving the environment more vulnerable, right? If you have an unpatched system, that system is technically vulnerable or more vulnerable than it was because that system has not been updated or patched with the correct, update or whatever. SOARs used to orchestrate automate vulnerability management processes, and that's also called vulnerability management, making sure that the vulnerable systems getting patched, addressing critical issues based on related security advisories in a timely and efficient manner. Okay, then I have our workflow right here. So yeah, 1 through 12, we have our workflow right here. I mean, we could read this all, but I feel like I could just do this because it's literally the same thing, just more visual. Learn right here. So we start here. Minor advisory lists, extract new CVE data, SOAR queries, patch management to see if CVE has been addressed. If the CVE has been addressed, then it's end. If CVE has not been addressed, score SOAR queries, patch management to see if CVE applies. If applicable for the organization, yes. Creates a ticket, assigns analysts, reviews ticket, identifies assets needing patch, SOAR queries, configure management for patch. Does patch exist? No. Update the database, and then create a test machine. Just what I just said. Definitely want to test the patch before releasing it out to the production environment. Applies the patch, logging of test metrics and performance. I guess you can do that as well. Deploy the patch, verifies patch rollout, scans patch, assets via vulnerability scan, assets vulnerable, yes. Develop migration plan, deploys migration, closes CV ticket, management says that CV is addressed. So yeah, basically this is just a more technical detail of what I just said right here. Just the main ones right here. We can just say CV has been addressed and workflow. If not, the CV will be assessed to if it applies to any assets, create the virtual test environments, test the patch, deploy the patch to the production assets, conduct a vulnerability scan against the patches for the CVE, analyst develops and deploys a migration plan if the assets are still vulnerable. Yeah, definitely want to migrate that vulnerability as much as possible, and then end the workflow. Are manual analysis vital within a SOAR workflow? Of course, 100%, right? Just like with you guys do use ChatGPT, you gotta always double check the information that it says, right? Even before you type anything, it says you always want to, make sure the information is correct and that the AI language model can be incorrect sometimes. Same with the SOAR, it's still security orchestration automated, keyword automated response, right? But SOAR is definitely supposed to just minimize the workload for the analysts, so from there the analyst can face on the real investigations that don't require repetitiveness workflow, like an automation can easily just expedite that workflow because it's repetitiveness and it's easy to be expedited. So yeah, you're a SOC lead and then facing a breach organization due to lack of automation. Friend McSkidy recently advised you to adopt the SOAR. Set up automation workflows to help your security investigations. Send me a checklist. Okay, test figure out how it works. The view side button. Automate the process. Use different screens to activate the elements required for the SOAR workflow. Run and test the workflow until you. So yeah, click the view side right here. Let's proceed automating through the SOC environment. Various settings. You'll have to enable, disable, and rotate. Okay, so adjust the settings for automated and manual flows to adopt the SOAR and set up automation workflows that will help you in your security orchestration. So that will be what? Course of action? Whoa, I'm actually so confused here. So we're supposed to adjust these settings. Okay, so create ticket users such as, so obviously always want to create a ticket, automate that. Assign the ticket, that's debatable. I think based on what TryHackMe was saying, it assigns automatically. Communicate case ticket, integrate channels such as email and Slack thing. You want to automate this and creep these two as manual. See what happens. Jeez. Case ticket setting is incorrect. Cool. Okay, yeah. So we just did the case ticket settings. This should have been automated with, which I guess is debatable, because usually you want the analyst updating it, not the SOAR. But I mean, we'll see. I'm not no expert here. So yeah, this is automated. This is only manual, which I definitely is the right answer because we don't just delete tickets. Now we have our threat intel setting right here. So fetch new incident alerts, use threat intel source for new data. I don't see why AI can do that as well. Set fetch intervals, pool APIs used to set fetch times. Discard all alerts calls for deleting alerts. That's definitely manual. Failed. Fetch and notify when fetch fails. Definitely automated. I'm gonna say this is automated as well. Let's see really quick. Nice, that is the correct answer. So now we have our data extraction right here. Extract domains, retrieve domain data for known threat, look this one file. So the easy answer, definitely that could be automated. Extract URLs easily, extract IPs, and the only thing right here, analyst extraction. Unknown and especially new threat lookups, like I just said, you want to use multiple sources and you want to use manual sources such as the actual analyst. Definitely want that to be manual. Yeah, we do move more on the period here. Reputation check settings incorrect. So let's go right here. Reputation results output compiled results from about solo automated, right? Sandbox testing, any run, what I just said, hybrid analysis, that's definitely manual. Analyst validation, manual. That is correct. Course of actions right here. Block domains. I would assume the analyst should do this, but I think if we want to, set up automation workflows to help my security investigations for this lab, we do all of this as and then update case it gets debatable as well. I think AI is there. Only thing is manual is analyst approve. See if I'm correct. Yep, I am correct. Cool. Then we got our flag right here. We just copy it right here. We paste. Oh yeah, that was the correct answer, and that's all for this room. In this room, we looked at SOAR and various workflows from the viewpoint of SOCs that are facing a number of challenges. It is worth noting that SOAR platforms provide enormous integration opportunities that ensure seamless automation, performance of security operations, power to security orchestration and automation. Let's complete this. Completed the lab. Let's see what did we learn. We learned about the concepts and methodology surrounding security orchestration, automation, response. Bam. Yeah, definitely not a very hands-on lab, but definitely a lab that needed to be done, right? SOAR is being used throughout majority of every security orchestration. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you in my next lab. Peace out.